What is the definition of parentification? And do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
Okay, parentification is definitely a bad thing. It's a form of emotional abuse. We would define parentification as either instrumental parentification, which is when you perhaps paying the bills at a young age, you are looking after younger siblings, you are doing household tasks that are perhaps outside of an age-appropriate remit. So you're not parentified if mum and dad asked you to load the dishwasher on a Friday evening. Or clean your room. That's not parentification. But if they're telling you that you have to clean the entire house before you're allowed to go out, and please make sure you ring up and pay the phone bill, that is parentification because that is age inappropriate. Emotional parentification is when you become the family therapist. You become the person that your parent is leaning on for emotional support. The person that your parent perhaps treats as a stand-in spouse, treats as a stand-in therapist, a best friend, someone who they can go and speak to all their problems about regardless of how old you are. And that's where that emotional parentification comes in. And both of them are damaging. They're not healthy relational patterns to expect your child to fulfill those roles for you as children.
I'm in my 30s. If someone's in their 30s still doing that for their parents, is that acceptable because you're almost older, so you're able to emotionally be more mature and you're able to process it compared to when you're 15 or 16?
Quite often what happens in these dynamics is that someone has experienced this from a very young age and continues to experience it all through their life. So they continue to be the person who everybody comes to, the person who everybody chats with, and who is kind of the problem taker and the problem solver. That's a difficult space to be in, but it becomes a norm. So when it becomes our norm, we continue on in that pattern as if it's not a problem, it's not an issue until we pull it into our awareness, how it's impacted us. Now, there is a difference. There is a big difference between coming to your child when they're in their 30s and having a conversation with them about what's going on versus coming to your 5, 6, 7, 15-year-old and talking to them about what's going on. But is it healthy? Not always. For a lot of people, they feel like when they are in their 30s, if you have one parent who's coming to you to talk about another parent and how much they make them unhappy, still never nice to hear.
Yeah, of course.
And a lot of therapists, a lot of coaches will kind of say, well, do we ever want to be leaning on our children? Is that ever the role that they want to fill? Your children will, even as adults, always look to us for that emotional support. Do we then want to be flipping that narrative and going to them? Ideally, feels like there are better spaces to do that.